happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
It's kind of fun talking to you now that Mars is in the news again. Of course.
Yep.
I mean, closest has been, I guess, in about 60,000 years. How would you gauge the sudden interest in Mars and I guess the general interest in space overall?
Well, it's time. We've been away from the subject for a long time. We should never have left the moon. We've been interested in the space shuttle now for 25 years, which is a bore. What changed our life was landing on the moon. The next big step is to return to the moon, establish headquarters there, and then set out for Mars with a live crew, so that we can really explore Mars, because it's a substitute for war. Everything we're doing in the world today has to do with destruction and death and murder and war, and we need something to make us all feel better, and that's space travel.
Here we are in the beginning of the 20th century, and the news is dominated by those headlines, war and terrorism. And I don't like labels, but you've certainly been labeled a futurist, and from what I know about you, I would also call you an optimist.
No, I'm not an optimist.
You're not, huh?
I'm an optimal behaviorist.
Okay, what does that mean?
If you behave yourself, and you behave optimally, if every day of your life, every week, every month, every year, you do the thing that you love up to the optimal mark, at the end of a year of doing what you should be doing, you feel good. So that's optimal behavior, and you have a feeling of real optimism as a result, but it's not a fake feeling. A lot of optimism is fake. It's based on nothing. But if you do your work and you love your work, then you have optimal behavior and an optimal feeling of goodness toward yourself.
Do you think that we as a race will ever overcome our tendency toward violence?
No, but we can use that and go off to Mars, and we'll be killed along the way, and we'll settle in on Mars, and we'll always be ridiculous, but we'll always be wonderful.
Well, I think the Martian Chronicles speaks a little to that. Would we not be just taking our human condition and transporting it to Mars?
Sure, of course, but we got to expect that. We've only been a short time out of the cave. I've done an article called "Too Soon from the Cave, Too Far from the Stars." We're the in-between generation. It's going to take us thousands of years to move in space and change our characters somewhat and become more peaceful cave dwellers out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take time, and that's why we have to endeavor ourselves with going back to the moon and Mars, because that's all peaceful and it's all beautiful.
You speak about the moon. What's your vision? Do you see the establishment of colonies and communities and cities?
Well, we should go to the moon because we don't have to build a space station. I've never understood building a space station when the moon is a good, solid space station to take off and use going to Mars.
How could the creation of a viable atmosphere be affordable?
Everything's affordable if you want it. We're spending $300 billion a year on our war effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take $1 billion of that and put it into space instead. It's a very small amount, isn't it?
Yeah, and I take it that let me put it this way. I believe, NASA says that its mission is to understand and protect our home planet, to explore the universe and search for life, to inspire the next generation of explorers. Do you think NASA is meeting that goal?
Well, they're not as much fun as they should be. I should be in charge. Well, I can jump up and down and scream and yell and enthuse people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem to be able to do that.
Yes, you certainly can enthuse people. And when did you first get interested in Mars?
Oh, when I was 8 years old, I read the Martian novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 12, I began to write short stories. And the first thing I wrote was a sequel to The Gods of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. So I began by looking at the the drawings and the photographs by Schiaparelli of Mars, and also the photographs from the Lowell Observatory in Arizona. And Mars looked wonderful, and I wanted to go there, and I did, and I never came back.
What happened in your sequel?
Oh, it was terrible. It's somewhere. I've got everything put away, but I don't want to read it now.
All right. When you were 8, or you're just turned 83 today, I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was some time ago now when you were 8 or 12 years old. Did you believe at that time that you would see missions to Mars in your lifetime?
I thought when I was a teenager that we might land on the moon when I was 80 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I was way off. I was in my 40s
Right.
when we landed on the moon. So we beat the record.
But since then, I take it you think we've been moving too slowly?
But yeah, we came back from the moon. It's stupid. We should have stayed there.
Why do you believe that we did not?
Because we have no one in Congress, in either party, who cares about space. Packwood, Senator Packwood, was one of the few that cared about space travel. I went to his office in Washington 20 years ago, and it was full of books by H.G. Wells and Jules Verne and all my friends, and by me, and we're still good friends. We got rid of him. Why did we get rid of him? Because he tussled with his secretary.
Right.
He didn't do anything else. Compared to the President of the United States, who was stupid and ridiculous. He and Monica. But I'm still in touch with Senator Packwood, telling him he's a good guy.
All right. Well, this said, you know, a lot of the, I guess the landers are going to be on Mars in January.
That's right.
And a lot of the rover team at JPL lives out here in the Santa Clarita Valley, so they won't be likely to, you know, read this. Do you have a message specifically for them?
Well, just light a candle and pray. Because some of our last efforts failed, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with traveling over millions of miles of space with equipment which can go wrong on you, no matter how much time you spend, no matter how much effort. The miracle is we've gone as far as we've gone with very little destruction.
Mm-hmm. I've got to ask this. Do you think they will find life in some form on Mars?
Yeah, when we get there, we will be the Martians.
Shades of Martian Chronicles here.
You're damn right, boy.
All right. Mars will be this close again in about, I don't know, the middle of the 23rd century, 2287 or something like that.
I'm not going to wait around, no.
Well, okay, but what do you think Earth is going to look like then?
Well, maybe we'll get rid of a lot of lousy TV. I hope it can look better if we destroy most television shows and most bad movies. Maybe we'll be making more quality movies by then. Maybe we'll redo our educational systems and begin to teach reading and writing again. We're not doing it now, and until we do, we're going to be a stupid race.
Tell me what kind of television programs you'd like to see.
Anything except what's on there, huh? I watch the Turner broadcast night after night. The old movies are better. No matter how dumb they are, they're better than what we're doing now. And but we have to have more documentaries, more histories of the various countries of the world, more films on the miracle of life under sea. When you look at the varieties of life that are under the ocean, anything that puts a sense of the miraculous in you, that we're living in a very strange element in this planet, and we should appreciate the fact we're alive. Anything that makes you feel alive is good.
What obligation in terms of space in particular, or education in general, what's our obligation in terms of passing our legacy along to our children?
Well, everything. We're not doing it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't read and write. You can't be educated. You can't care about living. You've got to put something in people's heads so the metaphors bounce around and collide with each other and make new metaphors. That's the success I've had of daring to put different metaphors together, bashing their heads together, and saying, "Oh my God, I didn't think of that. How wonderful."
Well, say that leads me to thinking about the state of technology today, and we've got headlines about there's the power blackout back east, and then you got these computer viruses that are taking down our systems. Where is technology taking us?
Well, anywhere we want to take us. I mean, we're doing fine. The technology and medicine has improved all our lives. Until 1939, millions of people died, millions of children died. But with penicillin and sulfanilamide, people stopped dying. And Jonas Salk came along, developed the Salk vaccine. In medical terms, the world has been changed all for the good. Technologically speaking, we have created here in the United States and given to the world new genetic structures for foodstuffs all over the world, better breeds of corn, better types of wheat. So we've improved ourselves incredibly. Now we have to conquer the death rate on our highways every week and every month and every year. We kill 40,000 people a year on our highways, and we worry about 10 anthrax letters written by a pharmacist in New Jersey. Come on.
Right.
To hell with that. There was no anthrax attack. We're a panicked nation when it comes to reacting to nothing.
Are you, just thinking about traffic deaths, are you a promoter of mass transit?
I started it 40 years ago. I backed the Elwig monorail people to try to build a grid of 12 monorail systems to cure our traffic problems instead of the freeways, and the city council turned down their offer. I was at the meeting 40 years ago when I was 42.
I'm sorry, where was that?
In front of the LA City Council.
Oh.
The Elwig monorail people offered to build 12 systems in the grid to improve rapid transit in LA, and free of charge, offering it to us free if we let them run the system. The Board of Supervisors and the City Council turned it down, and I asked for 3 minutes at the end of the meeting, and I got up and I paraphrased Winston Churchill. I said, to paraphrase Winston Churchill, rarely have so many owed so little to so few. And they threw me out of the meeting. So talk about rapid transit there. I was ahead of everyone.
Well, and I know you stayed with urban planning in general.
Well, I've created malls all over the country.
You did the concept for what? Horton Plaza.
Yep.
And others.
They built a new mall in Hollywood, the Assyrian Plaza, last year at the corner of Highland and Hollywood, based on a plan I saw in a film called Intolerance by D.W. Griffith, which came out in 1918. I told them to build it in Hollywood, and the tourists would come to see it. And they did that, and it's there now.
Well, what do you think about the urban sprawl in greater L.A.? Do you have any advice for urban planners?
No. Keep on doing it. People coming from the east, they got to live somewhere.
And out in our area, you mentioned TV a minute ago, and of course you've done a lot of television. I was just wondering if you had ever done any television work out here in our valley.
No, I did it all in New Zealand.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. The Ray Bradbury series. I wrote 64 shows in Paris, and they were produced in Canada, in Vancouver, in Paris, in London, and New Zealand.
What's next? What's the work in progress?
3 new books and 4 new plays and a new book of short stories and a partridge in a pear tree.
Hey, who's your pick for governor? I know you're a friend of Dick Riordan.
Schwarzenegger. I know him, and he's a good guy. All the politicians who are criticizing Schwarzenegger for running, all the these guys who went to college, and they all have degrees, and they're great politicians, and they've created a $39 billion deficit. Why should we trust them? I'd rather trust a smart guy like Schwarzenegger.
All righty. Well, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Sure. Thank you.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.